Hey everybody, this is a video about don't buy Dodge Ram junk. So let's get going. This is a transmission case actually for a Dodge Ram 2500. Actually, it's probably used in multiple models, but my particular truck's a 2500, and it developed and the transmission has started leaking. And so I cleaned it off. I figured maybe it was the gasket in the oil pan, but no, it wasn't. Matter of fact, that thing is nice and tight. Anyways, I went and cleaned it off. Spent quite a bit of money actually filling the thing up with transmission fluid and cleaning it off. I used brake parts cleaner, and it's got a crack. And it's got a big crack too. Actually, it's not that big. It's quite long. But anyways, so but it's not that wide. But it's wide enough. Anyways, the area. This is one I found on eBay that shows the a weld. Okay, somebody's trying to sell a case that's been welded. Okay, and you can see the weld there. I got it circled in red. That's exactly the location of this crack, and it basically goes, you know, all across the transmission, across the top half of the transmission, so that's like a major safety problem with Dodge, because what happens if that transmission comes apart? You know, you think about it, that transmission is all the force that drives those tires that to move that truck down the freeway at 80 miles an hour with a 40-foot travel trailer on the back. All the force that's moving that thing down the freeway is going through that transmission. And so there's a lot of stress on that thing. And that's a problem for Dodge. I sent them a letter, and they basically blew me off, didn't even bother answering. So obviously, maybe they want to get sued. This is actually another one, and it's showing the same, this is another transmission that was actually for sale on eBay, or case, but it's showing the same area, and this one isn't cracked, or it doesn't look like it is, although it could be developing there. It's hard to say. It looks like there's definitely a weak area there. Maybe they even designed it to, I wouldn't be surprised if they designed this thing to crack in that location. Anyways, I happen to do aerospace engineering consulting, and I design and build airplanes. And so I've done that for over 40 years, and I happen to know a little bit about what it takes. As a matter of fact, I helped design the hydraulic system on the F-35 Joint Strike Fighter, so I happen to know what it takes. That's a transmission is a hydraulic system, and so I know what it takes to design these things. And now I don't do the stress analysis myself, but I have friends that do. Anyways, all structures undergo a stress analysis. Obviously, on an airplane, the requirements are going to be a lot more stringent than on a car or a truck, but it's still basic principles of engineering. Anyways, all structures undergo a stress analysis. The stress analysis determines the type of the material that the structure will be made of, the material thickness, and the shape of the material. And they're supposed to add in, after they calculate all of the stresses that it's going to be exposed to and design it so that it will be able to withstand that, they add in a 10% safety margin. Now, this is a hook, and this shows your where the maximum amount of stress is. Now these units, see, again, I don't do the stress analysis, so the units I'm not sure, but you can see how it's color coded. The red is the highest stress area, and the blue is the lower stress area. And this is a piston, okay, and again, it's showing the high stress area of the piston, which is, you know, if you think about it, that's when the explosion happens. And so it's on the upper surface of the wrist pin openings, and this is a turbine blade, and if you notice on these blades, the high stress is at the root of the blade. they've got this down pretty good, where they do these stress analysis, and they know exactly what's going on in these things before they're ever built. They have very sophisticated software, and you can, CATIA, there's a lot of software programs that do this, but you can actually swap out the different material types, and they have every conceivable kind of material in these computer databases, and they know exactly what that material will put up with. And so anyways, this is a ring and pinion gear. The pinion being basically the dry shaft, the ring gear, and the differential. And it shows where the stress is located. Anyway, so an automatic transmission is a self-contained hydraulic system. In an airplane, the hydraulic system is the single most reliable system. If there's a failure in an airplane hydraulic system, it's probably with an electrical component, because the hydraulic system just does not fail, or not normally. And the reason is because of the testing. Now, I realize in an automobile, they won't have to do that kind of testing. They do impulse testing. They do all sorts of testing. And with an automobile, I mean, if something breaks, you just pull it over. And whereas with an airplane, it's a little bit more complicated. And so they have quite more stringent requirements with an airplane, but the basic principles of engineering are still there, and they're supposed to be doing a stress analysis on this thing to make sure that it's going to be able to that it's going to be designed to take the stresses that it's going to be exposed to. Now, this is back that same picture, except I modified it a little bit different. You can see these ribs, or these flanges that they've designed into this. This is a casting, is what it is. And so the purpose of these flanges is because of the stress. Okay, there was the stress analysis probably showed that there was going to be cracks developing, and they wanted to increase the strength of the structure without adding too much weight, and so they added in these flanges. And you can see these ribs or flanges, these ribs all over the place, where that's what the stress analysis will tell them where to put it, and how big to make it, and the whole 9 yards. And so they know exactly what they're doing, I'm telling you. And this is, but the thing is there's, with transmissions on Dodge, if you go and do a Google search, there's all sorts of them that are cracked. Now, some of them might be cracked because of debris or something like that hitting it, and that's possible. But this is not the type of crack that would develop because of debris hitting it. It's up on top of the transmission. There's nothing up there, and so this is because of bad design, and it's, in my opinion, it's deliberate. A dealer told me that it was because of a vibration caused by a bad U-joint on the front drive shaft, and the fatigue and the vibration fatigued the case. And that's possible. That's the front drive shaft. And if you notice that on the end here, it's got two U-joints that are about 2 inches apart. Now, this design is like, hello, the lights are on. Is anybody home? Why on earth? That thing, if those U-joints go, that thing is just going to be going all over the place. And so what they do is they actually put a little alignment, like it's needle bearings. It's like a U-joint. It's like a half a U-joint, actually, and it's inside there, and it helps keep this thing in line. But again, if those little needle bearings go, that thing is going to be going all over the place, and there's nothing to keep that thing lined up. In other drive shafts that I've seen, if there's a two-piece drive shaft, they put a steady bearing in there to hold it in place, and they work just fine. This is deliberately calculated to cause failures. This is a transmission, to get another idea on this is the same transmission, but it's got the transfer case on it. Mine's a 4x4. It's got a transfer case, and you can see where the arrow is. That's the output shaft on the transfer case that goes to the front differential. So that this drive shaft, this end of the drive shaft actually bolts up to that output shaft on the transfer case. And so So you can see where if that U-joint went, and that's what happened, quite frankly, is my U-joint went. Those things, what they do is they seal them in plastic. They put them in, and they're not meant to be serviced. There's no grease nipples or anything like that. And so they're designed to fail. And so what they want to do is they want to have that thing set up a vibration and crack that and fatigue the transmission, so they can sell you a $6,000 transmission plus the installation. Okay, you're probably talking about another $1,200 to install it. And so, you know, it's like corporate greed big time, and they're a bunch of thieves. If I replace the transmission, the bottom line is, yeah, if I replace the transmission, how do I know the new one won't crack? I mean, these things are not designed to take the stresses that they're supposed to take. And really what needs to happen is some people need to file a lawsuit, and what we need to do is get someone that hasn't had an accident, had one of these things come apart when they're going 80 miles an hour down the freeway and the resulting accident, and sue their butt off. And they have done nothing to relieve the stresses on these castings. They haven't braked the sharp corners. They didn't do shot peening. They did nothing. And if I get a copy of the drawing, I'll be able to prove it. They give you a 1-year warranty on when you get a new transmission, a rebuilt transmission, or sometimes up to 3 years warranty after you spend $4,000 for a rebuilt transmission or $6,000 for a new one. And so who's to say whether the thing's even going to last that long? And maybe it does last that long, and just about the time the warranty goes out, then the damn thing cracks again. I mean, hello. This is a black hole for money and a windfall for these Dodge thieves. Anyone who buys Dodge Ram junk is asking for major repair expenses again and again and again. I mean, they're not interested in selling you something that's reliable. You know, they go and advertise how they got more vehicles on the road than any other maker. Well, I say bull. You know, feed me, you know, how do you know when they're lying? Their lips are moving. They're nothing but a bunch of liars. Again, this is where the ribs are located and everything like that. And if you look carefully, you'll see that they didn't break the sharp edges. There's all sorts of sharp edges on this thing, and that's where cracks develop. And so they didn't break the sharp edges. They didn't shot peen this thing. They didn't do nothing. Anyways, in 2008, Dodge went bankrupt, okay, when that last crisis happened. And then in 2014, Fiat bought Chrysler for $4.35 billion, and Fiat is now sold at Dodge dealerships. So who's the major stockholder of Fiat? You know, maybe it's the Roman cult. I'll bet it is. And so this is actually a headline that I got off the internet. I think it was, you know, I'm not even sure. ABC or one of the networks. Anyways, this is a headline showing Fiat gains full control of Chrysler at $4.35 billion deal. And so if I replace the transmission, the next one's probably going to crack. So why even bother? You know, it's time to get rid of this Dodge, quite frankly. It may crack before the warranty runs out, and may not. Who knows? I'm taking a risk. The damn thing is a piece of junk. Check out my upcoming video about what I'm going to do to fix it, okay? Somebody needs to sue Dodge. This is a major safety violation, and so this is also an appeal to anybody out there where if you know about an accident that was caused by one of these things coming apart, then that's what we need to do. Anyways, I got other videos. I've got over 240 videos. Bankster thieves 1, 2, and 3. Churchianity thieves. Do it yourself. How not to volunteer for the selective service. Martial laws here. Do it yourself. No income tax. I've been to the Supreme Court 4 times, so I know what to do. But quite frankly, for this would be like a class action lawsuit. It might be better to get some liars to take it. Anyways, I've got a bunch of other videos. if you find this useful, then you need to pay it forward. If you don't know what pay it forward means, then watch the movie. And so my blog is sovereigntyinternational.wordpress.com. My website, sovereigntyinternational.fyi. My email is engineerwin@yahoo. My YouTube profile is Sovereign Living. My Facebook community page, I deleted it due to censorship. My private group at Facebook, Sovereignty International, is being deleted because of censorship. And I have a Yahoo private group called Administrating Your Public Servants and a Google private group called Administrating Your Public Servants. I hope you got something out of this. Spread the word. We need to, I don't know why anybody buy Dodge junk. When that's the way they're designing it, that is an absolute abortion. If I was the engineer, if I was the guy that was looking at that thing, I'd say this thing is an abortion. And so we need to vote with our feet. Anyways, I appreciate you watching the video, and I hope you have a real nice day.